TNT.
What's going on, viewers? This is another episode of the Hoodie Bros, and we got a special guest today. We got Rhema Pegues in the building, high school Mcdonalds nominee. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Nominee. And before we get this interview started, I'm gonna shout out to Big Bill's Barbecue. If you guys are looking for a different taste of barbecue, you need to go to Big Bill's, located on 2857 Kirby Road and 4101 Elvis Preston. Please go check it out. You will not be disappointed. And to get into this interview, Rhema, I'm kind of new to the girl. Well, I'm not new, but I'm still getting into the girls' basketball. So for the people that don't know you, because I usually interview Memphis players, so now you kind of like, well, now you're my second Mississippi player, other than Jalen Sanders. I had Jalen Sanders in here. I had Taylor Woodhouse too. Can't forget Taylor Woodhouse. So kind of tell us your story about how you got into basketball and how you got to where you are today.
I pretty much started out around. I started playing in like the YMCA leagues and stuff when I was about like 8 or 9, and then I turned around and stopped playing because I was a soccer player at heart for a long period of time, and that was all I knew. So for about 12 and a half years, I was straight soccer, and then turned around, and then I played basketball around. I really didn't get serious about it until 6th grade. And then 6th grade, it was like my mom ended up having cancer, so she couldn't stand being outside in the weather any longer. So after my last 8th grade season, I was done with soccer pretty much, and I went on to basketball and got serious about it.
Okay. You're a very tough player out there, and you're full of energy, and you kind of motivate your team a lot. So, with that being said, when you got serious about basketball, kind of like, was that something that you did for yourself? Did you get yourself a couple of trainers? Like, how did you get to your skill set now?
It really started out with my dad, because my dad was like pretty much, he's a professional sports trainer and health trainer, so he does a lot of that. And he, ever since I was little, he's always been on me about having a strong mind, having strong foundations and stuff like that. And so starting out, I did have like a couple of trainers, but I didn't have too many because I kind of relied on my coaches that I had started playing with, like with my competitive teams. But I started out playing for our boys AAU team when I originally started playing AAU basketball, period. And that kind of made me have that aggressive, nobody can really stop me type mindset. And then it was like, okay, the mindset as far as you can do anything kind of came along when I started playing with the Mambas and the Future Stars, because they kind of just brought me together, because I was playing up a grade every year. Like, I think on the Mambas I played up like 2 years ahead of me of my grade. Okay. And then on the Future Stars I played up 1 year. So, I mean, that pretty much just gave me those type of teams like that. My foundation teams pretty much gave me that start off mindset, and then I just built on from there.
Okay. So those are the AAU teams that you played for. Those girls AAU teams.
Those are my starter ones. And then I finished out with Bluff City and Alabama Southern Stars EYBL this year.
Okay. Kind of describe the difference in girls school ball from AAU ball.
School ball is I have to say it's slightly easier, because it's like the people that you play, you pretty much been playing them for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. Like starting from middle school, you gonna play your class. The 8th graders that you've been playing since 8th grade, the 7th grade you've been playing 7th grade, you gonna see them when you get on the court. And then it's like you got your young ones that's coming up behind them, but then you also got older girls when you get to the high school that you're gonna be playing alongside, and you're gonna be with them for probably about 1 or 2 years, depending on what grade they in. So, I mean, I feel like it's easier, whereas you got AAU, you playing against, depending on the level that you're playing on, like, EYBL or Adidas or Under Armour, whatever circuit you're playing on, you always going to play nationally ranked level players, and you're going to always run into some girls that are 10 times better than you, and you're going to have to just show up and play.
Okay. So, have you You only played on one circuit? You only played on or have you played on all?
I've actually played on. I played on Adidas Platinum level with Bluff City, which is the highest that you can get.
Mm-hmm.
I played there. We played there. My no, we didn't play. Yeah, my 11th grade year we played. No, 10th grade year is the last time we had ended up getting to play because they canceled because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The next year's, but then this year with EYBL, I played against the Nike teams. So.
Okay. So is that competition? You know, everybody always say the best competition on Nike or whatever. Do you feel that the Nike had the hardest competition, or it was kind of even out depending on the case?
I really feel like with Adidas, you got more nationally ranked girls that were more aggressive. Like they dogs. Like everybody on the team on that Adidas player, they some dogs. Like if you ain't ready to get hit, you can't be no finesse type player.
Yeah.
Like you gonna have players that can score at every level on Adidas, but they gonna lock you up 94 feet every game. Whereas like with EYBL, you got more the type of people that's like they finesse, but they shifty, they crafty, they gon' break you, they gonna look the other way, make no look passes, they gonna embarrass you pretty much, cause I mean that's just how they are, that's what they've been taught, and so it's kind of like they skill sets like on college level, and Adidas is too, but them girls they're different because it's just like you playing against some 6'8" guards, you ain't never like you don't, that's not normal, you see a 6'8" guard come out of nowhere and pull a 3 from long range, like you don't see that really too much in Adidas because you really don't get that chance if you ain't just that type of player. But, I mean, I honestly have to say you get more aggressive people on Adidas and then you get more finesse, crafty players on EYBL.
Okay. So, let me ask you this. With you being based out of Mississippi, and you're a pretty... Well, the team itself is solid, but yourself as a player... You are very noticeable as one of the top-ranked players in Mississippi. And my question to you is, and I kind of wonder it sometimes, do you ever feel they'll get to a point where, I guess, I don't know what's the rules behind it, but getting Mississippi teams to play inner city Memphis teams? Because I know Mississippi is pretty good, but I know the competition is not as wide as the inner city. Do you think it'll be a time where... Like Olive Branch will start playing the East and Arlington and stuff.
I feel say Olive Branches. We've always played the Memphis team every year. Starting my 9th grade year, we played Central. We played East, Whitehaven. We played Barley last year. We played Tipton Rosemark, Arlington. I mean, we didn't play a handful every year pretty much for me. Just other than this year. We haven't gotten a chance to... Well, we played Carterville, actually. So, yeah. We've played Memphis teams every year since I've been there. And then we played in the MLK tournament, and we won it every year that we played, except for last year, because we didn't play in it last year. I don't think... Yeah, we didn't play in it last year, and we didn't play in it this year.
Okay. So, when you play those Memphis teams, would it always be one? Or do they give you like 2 or 3 of them to play on y'all schedule?
We usually have a couple because we usually play, like I said, we usually play Arlington just like in a regular season game. We played St. Benedict one time, and then so we played probably about 5 or 6 games with like Memphis teams like collectively, and then we played them during the summer. Also, we played Houston. Played Houston twice during our summer and regular season. So I mean, this year and a couple years, my 10th grade year. Okay. So we've pretty much went head to head with a lot of Memphis teams.
Well, you teaching me a lot. So with that case, girl basketball is getting very popular. And I guess it really took it was getting popular anyway, and I think it really took a milestone after Kobe, I guess, to put more focus and emphasis on girls basketball. And even with the WNBA, they're raising the pay rate and stuff. What are your goals once you get into college? Do you want to go to WNBA? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to coach? Or
my mom has always asked me, like, if I ever got a chance to go pro, would I? And I tell her, like, I mean, I would, but at the same time, I kind of don't because I always think long term, like with injuries and stuff. I always think about that, and I never want to put myself in a predicament because I just feel like, I mean, when it's my time to put the ball down, it's my time to put the ball down. So, I mean, if it's God will that I play after college, I will play. But I'm more focused on going to college and being an obstetrician, gynecologist, and going to medical school and just give me a bag there. Like, I want to make my money and be able to travel pretty much when I get older and just enjoy my occupation.
Okay. I actually know a girl. Well, I don't know her real name. I forgot, but they call her Pound Cake.
Mm-hmm.
She's exceptionally well in dribbling. She actually is a doctor, but she still hoops. So
yeah.
It was kind of weird that you said that. And I thought about her. And what about overseas? Overseas. You don't think about it
I
at all.
don't know how I would take overseas because, like, I would want to be away from my life, too far away from my family.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. McDonald's nominee. So, was it something that you was hoping for, that you were working towards, or it just kind of slapped you?
It slapped me because I didn't even think about, like, I never even placed myself on a higher pedestal or, like, that's just not my mindset. Like, that's just not what I do. And so, when my mama called me today and told me and was like, well, I'm going to let your uncle tell you because I know you probably not going to believe me. Mm-hmm. Then he told me, I was like, y'all being for real? And it turned out it was for real because then I looked at the email and it said, congratulations, Rhema. And I was like, I never even halfway thought, like, never in my life have I ever thought about being nominated for anything that high level of, like, caliber-wise. Never ever thought about being, to that point. And so when I got Danny Dozen this year, that was pretty much my peak as far as accolades go because that's all, like, I've ever wanted ever since I got out of high school.
So what is it?
Danny Dozen is like the top, I think it's like the top 12 players in the state of Mississippi or like the best, but it's just 12 players that they select throughout Mississippi that they feel are just like the top.
Is it in order or is just?
Oh, it's not in any specific order. It's just 12 girls that they select throughout the whole Mississippi from classes like 1 through 6A, and they pretty much just go from there. And so when I got to high school and found out that you can get it, I pretty much just been wanting and praying for that, like, and just working for that ever since. Because I was just like, man, I gotta have it. I gotta have Danny Dozen.
So out of those 12. Who all did you then played against in that list of 12 and won or?
I played against Taylor Felton, Carla Keys, Samaya, Layla. I played against Haley Breland. I played against the Savannah Haley. I played against Audrey Houston. I've actually played with Audrey Houston. She played in the NBL league down that Coach Toby Taylor hosts every year. I pretty much have played with everybody on there that I can remember. I either played against them or with them.
How many of them beat you?
Let's see. Off the top of my head, the only two I can think of is only two of them. Carla Keys and Taylor Felton.
School-wise or AAU-wise?
School-wise.
Okay. Well?
We lost to Choctaw Central when she was there my 10th grade year. Or it was my 9th grade. It was like my 9th grade year, I think. We had played them. We lost to them, and then we lost to Clinton recently, my second game of the season. But I mean, that was one of the games I ended up having to miss because they didn't clear me yet. So.
Oh, okay. So last year, y'all won state.
Yes, sir.
And you was MVP. Mm-hmm. We gonna do that again this year?
Yeah, I'm hoping. Win the state championship most definitely. I want to win the state championship most definitely. But as far as the MVP, I mean, when I tell my teammates, I like the scholar athlete. I'm a forever. That's my prime reason.
Oh yeah.
I love having scholar athlete. Like ever since my freshman year, they pretty much I've had the highest GPA on my team, and so every year my teammates, when we 3 times, so every time we went, they were like, oh yeah, you gonna get it. And then later, like, calling out the names or whatever. They were like, Rhema, go ahead and get ready. You finna go up there and get it. And then they ain't called my name. I was kind of hurt because I was like, thought y'all, like, I didn't know it was a certain grade. I didn't know it was only juniors and seniors that can get it.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just determined. I was like, well, 11th grade year, if you can get it, if they say you can get it, you can get it. And so I kept my 4.95 and I ran with it because I was like, I got to get Scholar Athlete.
4.95?
Yes. I took like 6 college classes, like 3. I took a lot of AP classes and college courses that year. My 11th grade year was by far my hardest year school wise and academically, and yet I did like the best that I've ever done throughout high school. Cause even right now I got a 4.6, but that's not because I'm taking like 3 classes.
4.95.
Yep.
I couldn't even dream of a 4.95. That's tough to have a 4.95 and win state and be MVP.
Yeah.
Now that's tough.
Thank you.
That is tough. I'm not gonna lie. Let's talk about my brother, my guy. Since he moved on me, I know he promoted you a lot last year. My guy, Sports Life.
Yep.
Step. Just kind of, I always left the girls' basketball into his hands because that's kind of his forte.
Mm.
Kind of give people a little insight about my guy and how he treat just the sport in general, because I know he's very passionate about it.
He is one of the most, like, if you ever see somebody like that have like a zeal for anything, that dude got it. Like, I mean, because he always in the gym, like, he's always willing to help kids. Because, like, he asked my mama pretty much, like, when we first met him or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my mama asked him, like, about the highlights and whatever and stuff like that. And he was like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? And my mom was like, I just want her to get exposure. And he said, I got you. I can do that. And literally after probably like my second highlight video, I had coaches like, contacting my coach or like texting my AU coaches and stuff like that. And, trying to get in touch with me because like last year really, my mama told me like, last year kind of if I wanted to do anything with basketball, it would have to be a breakout year.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't wait because, with COVID and stuff like that, we were already limited on scholarships and stuff like that. So that kind of was a thing that kind of threw me for a loop because I was like, well, I mean, I'm getting exposure, but I'm probably not going to, get no scholarships from any level because, they saying that it's limited. And mom was, we just pretty much just kept praying on it and just working, but still definitely worked his magic with me, and even with my game, because even after games were over with, like, we played Arlington, I think, we played Arlington last year, we lost by 20. He made me a highlight video from it, but at the end of the, like, after he sent me the highlight video, he sent me my clips of my mistakes. Mm-hmm. And he told me exactly what I did wrong, and I kid you not, the game after that, I perfected it. Like, the next game after that and the games after that, like, I made sure that there wasn't a problem. Me waiting to get started, me, lacking on defense, not talking, not communicating, little details that I could have picked up on during that game. Yeah. And where I lacked it, he pointed that to me and showed me how much of a detrimental, factor that it played to our team because Arlington was converting off of it. I mean, passes, shots that I could have taken, like just different stuff like that. That kind of, when he showed me that definitely made my love and respect for him go up because it showed me that not only is he giving me exposure, but he's teaching me how to play the game at the same time. Like, without even putting a ball in my hand or even seeing me, like, one-on-one for drills or training anything, he sat there and picked my game apart. My Tupelo games, I probably had the worst games ever when I played them. And he picked my game apart every time. He told me, what it is, what it ain't. I mean, it's either you want it or you don't. And when he told me that, that's kind of when I kicked in because that was pretty much our last time playing before playoffs went for state and it's, when to go home. Mm-hmm. And when he told me you either want it or you don't, that just set my mind to a whole different type of dimension. And I went for it. I was like, everything gotta be perfect, everything. And so he shaped my all around game while putting me out there. Like, he's a big help to a lot of kids.
Okay. So I know. I mean, cause I deal with the boys basketball. They have some of them do have certain players that they look up to, and I know like in the moment now, a lot of kids look up to the Kennedys and stuff like that. Do you have? I don't know how the girls. Do you have younger girls that kind of come to you for advice? I know that you be at the Olive Branch middle game sometimes. I don't know if it's a requirement or you just like watching it.
I just like watching the game, but I got a lot of little sisters like out pretty much everywhere. I got a lot of little sisters. One of them actually just posted today. Her name Lamera. She played for Tupelo. She just got done posting one of our messages that I sent to her about me being proud of her because I mean, I take it as regardless of however whatever I get and like whatever accolades or whatever type of achievements that I receive, it doesn't make me any better of a player than you. It just just another accolade that's just being added to my name. But I feel like I'm still a regular person at the end of the day. I still you text me, I'm gonna text you back, and I'm gonna give you critiques, and I'm gonna get you do me in a game. I'm gonna hey, you did it. You cute. We played Holmes County Central, I think 2 weeks ago, and she I think her name is like Dakira Mitchell, and we played her, and she seemed like she was getting kind of down during the game because she wasn't making shots and stuff like that. And then in the first half, but then the second half came out, and she was like a totally different player. And I just had to give her props after the game. I said, you did your stuff. Like, I mean, she got shifty. She started making outside shots. I mean, I'm just like, I'm always in, everybody in Mississippi know I'm in their corner, like, regardless of whatever it is. If you've had a conversation with me, you know genuinely that I'm not the type to just be like, oh, yeah, this, that. Like, I don't feed you nothing, no crap or nothing like that. Like, I'm sincerely, like, rooting for you because I know how it is down here. And I know, how political it is to try to, get seen and stuff like this. So, I mean, it's nothing to give somebody extra support or extra help when they need it because you never know when somebody lacking. Regardless if you just sending a message just to send one. You never know where somebody lacking in. So, I take my messages very, very seriously. When I tell them I'm proud of them, I mean it. And so, my little sisters, they know who they are. And, I mean, that's pretty much it for that.
Okay. So, not last question, maybe getting to the last question. So, kind of from what I've been taking from you, you take basketball, well, you basically take everything you do serious, but your main thing, of course, is grades and scholarship and wanting to get into the medical field. But with that being your main goal, and this kind of like a secondary type thing, or just, something that you're good or blessed in, and to still get all these different accolades from the McDonald's, the MVP, do you kind of still think that this basketball stuff is God's gift?
Most definitely, because I don't think that when I first started playing, like I said, I didn't think I was going to be a basketball player. Like, I was still out there on the court trying to kick the ball down the court. Like, not pick it up with my hands. Because as long as I've been playing soccer, you told not to touch it with your hands. If you're not in the goal, you're not supposed to touch the ball with your hands. And so, I'm trying to kick the ball down the court rather than dribble it. And that it wasn't anything that, it was natural that I was athletic. But to actually see myself go from how I was from the beginning with just training and playing in general at the middle school, that kind of just showed me that it's truly God's gift because where I am now, and like even with me going to all the trainings and losing the weight that I did, that was a God-given thing for me because it's just like I don't really, it's hard to even put into words about how it happened because I'm just like, everything just happened so fast. Like, it was God's speed, everything, even with my injury. God's speed, you don't see nobody getting cleared from an ACL tear in 4 months and 33 days. You don't see nobody getting cleared like that fast, especially when your lineup time was pretty much 6 to 8 months. And so you don't know your doctors that's going to let you loose like that and be a little bit more lean, like stuff like that. That's all God's natural talent and God's gift that He's given to me. because I mean, if it was anything self-wise, I wouldn't be able to do it. Majority of the time, I'm getting carried off of what he gives me every day. Like sometimes I don't have the mental strength to go, or sometimes I don't have the energy to get throughout the day. He give it to me. I just put it in his hands. I let it work out how it is, because I mean I trust him like that. I have faith in him like that. So
that's good. So I know you described the mental, but personally, how did you feel after that surgery? Because I tore my meniscus, so and I know at least in first couple of weeks you can't really move like that. So how was the mental? It might have been a little different for you, because when I did, I was it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I was upstairs in the apartment. So like once I got up there, I couldn't come back down.
That's how I was, and that's how I was at the house, because I would have to use my crutch to come down the steps. Like if I want to come down the steps for the day, I had to stay down there. So I had a little backpack that I would have to bring down with me, and I had to set it like that, and then I had to hold on to the crutch like it's the staircase, and I had to move it down while I'm sitting down and do all this, and it was tiring. But I mean, after the surgery was over with, I pretty much was just like, okay, you got the hard part done, so now let's get to it. Cause I mean, the more I said, I just kept thinking about it. This is your senior year. The more you sit around and reflect on how it happened, what happened, because like I tell everybody, I had already given myself a deadline. If I didn't tear my ACL by October completely, I knew something, because I'd already torn it in December of the last year when I was playing Colleyville at Holly Springs. And when I tore it, when I partially tore it thin, I kind of already knew what I was putting myself into by just constantly playing on it, and then every game feeling my knee get weaker and weaker at the games. Half the time after the games, I'm limping, can't even walk, can't move or do anything. Majority of the time, it would mess up my team, because when we be out there on defense, I couldn't move. Like, it was terrible. I'd be scared to go to my right side, because I would be thinking that my knee's gonna give out, which it finally did after the first practice after we won state, when we had took our week break off. It pretty much had just given out on me, and I was just like, I mean, well, you gave yourself a deadline. When I tore it completely, and they gave me the thing, after my MRI, we went and got it done. The man told me, he was like, you partially tore it, but I was like, we already know that I only had like a third of my ACL left anyway. So I was like, you just telling me what I already did. So I pretty much just sat out for that 3 to 4 weeks period after that, because during the time we playing AAU. So I played 2 tournaments with my team, and then after that I kind of, I had to finish. I was done with it. And he pretty much told me, you partially tore your ACL. So I sat out for the 3 or 4 weeks when they went to Hampton, Virginia. And then I came back. In the practice I came back, I ended up just tearing it completely, because doing a crossover, I tore it completely. And that pretty much just, like, ended it for me. And I cried the first time, but the second time, I was like, the only hard part you got now is just to get the surgery over with. And them first couple of weeks, I'm like, I mean, you can either sit and dwell on it and, hold yourself back by just wanting to reminisce on the bad stuff, or you can get to work and defy the odds. And defying the odds was definitely what I got done for it. So.
You got a story. You might need to write a book.
Don't get me started on that. That's one thing that I love reading and writing. That's my therapy right there, for real.
All right, last question for you, so we can go and get you out of here. I know you just got through with practice. All right, we also have to do shout outs. You go to college. Do you still get that itch every now and then to play soccer?
Yes. I tell my teammates all the time I want to play soccer still. Like,
if you have an opportunity to play soccer in college, would you do it?
Yes. Because now I got a fixed knee, so why not?
That's understandable.
I wouldn't have to worry about it. I ended up tearing my meniscus and stuff during the time period when I was playing soccer. So, I would love to test out my leg now.
Okay. Do you still play on the free time?
I don't play. Obviously, you don't see me playing games, but if our soccer team, if we finish with practice, I go right on out there and just stand behind them and just watch them when it's not too cold. Cause now I got kind of
Used to
I thought
inside.
yeah I thought I was immune to the cold at first, you know, the little 30-degree weather and stuff like that. But now my arthritis been start kicking in, so I'm like, nah, can't do it no more.
Okay then. Shout outs. Who we got shout outs to?
I want to give a shout out to my family. Well, God most definitely, because He's like the most essential thing to me. Like everything that I've done, everything that I can even fathom of doing, He pretty much just brought me through it, brought me to it. And so like I definitely gotta give a shout out to God. But to my mom, my family, and my dad and my siblings, like they've all pushed me, and my Olive Branch Nation family, like I love me some Olive Branch family. Like they are amazing. I love my teammates, my coach most definitely, Coach T, Coach CJ. I mean, that's pretty much my trainer, D Party. Yeah, yeah. I gotta give him his props or whatever, cause you know he brought me a long way. He shaped my game most definitely. But I mean, other than that, I'm definitely gonna forever hawk on my support system. They definitely have carried me a long way as far as my game goes. So.
Okay. I appreciate you for coming down to the studio.
Thank you for having me.
we probably need to get you back in here one more time right before you probably after you graduate and kind of like leading right into before you go to college.
That's fine.
We'll kind of we'll get you back in here because then you'll probably have a decision by then and we can expand on some things.
Got you.
I appreciate you for coming by again.
Thank you for inviting me.
No problem.